Michael Chandler responded to Dustin Poirier going off on him yesterday. If you haven't seen it, Dustin made an appearance on the MMA Hour and discussed Chandler's post on X last week. He wrote, "No thanks. Retire, man. We good." Here's what Dustin said in response.
Michael said that they were talking to him about fighting.
Dude, he hasn't fought since I came out here and ripped him. I think, but also Chandler thinks he's a bigger draw than he is, I think.
You think so?
Yeah.
He's getting up there a little bit.
Good for him.
Would you do that one again? Would that entice you?
Nah. Why?
Something there.
I beat him.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like you want to beat him again.
He's beating himself. He's doing a good job of beating himself.
What do you mean?
Dude, he's wasted 2 years.
If it doesn't happen, though, then it's a massive blunder.
Dude, it's horrible for him. But I think he's got Dana White privilege, too. So he'll be all right. He'll be all right.
You need to take care of him?
No, yeah. They'll take care of him.
Why do you think they like him so much?
Because he'll do whatever they say.
In what regard? Like, what has he done so far that would back that up?
I don't know. It's just the kind of guy he is. He's just a company man.
You
Well,
like-
I mean, come on, dude. Look, no thanks. Retire. We good. Who the is we? You just got here, buddy. You're not one of us. You're not we. I've been here. Come on, dude.
That annoyed you?
We are good. Who's we? You know, welcome to the UFC, dude. You got one win in the UFC. Yeah, bro. He's not one of us. He just got here. Who's we? He's speaking for the lightweight division? Muscle McMike needs to chill.
Chandler reposted that clip to X. He wrote, "Dues paid, but I'm living rent-free." TJ Dillashaw says it's exciting and sad to see the upcoming new generation of fighters. TJ feels like he was forced out of the sport due to his injuries.
It's cool to see all the legends and all the respect. Like Luke, it was cool to see you show him respect. And we had a little toast for Diego. He's a new Jackson athlete. And it's exciting to see, like, you know, the era of legends that you guys are in will never be
exciting and
repeated.
sad at the same time, to be
Why?
honest. Because, bro, it's like I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, and I was just forced out of the sport. It sucks, you know, because I feel like I had so much more to give still.
I mean, it is exciting, though, just to see the respect level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And I know what you mean, but I don't think anybody looks at it like that for you.
I'm talking about myself.
Oh.
It looks like Rampage Jackson and Rashad Evans will be having a rematch, except in boxing. The two fought in the UFC back in 2010, and Rashad won via unanimous decision. Rampage made an appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience. He said he and I are talking about doing a boxing match against each other in November. We're trying to get that going. He's still trying, but I lost my faith in Shannon Briggs. I don't know if he's going to get it done. He talks a good game. I hope he gets it done. If he ever gets it done, I'll be game to fight him. But right now, I guess my first boxing match is going to be against Rashad. I need to get that win back. He was going to do it in Qatar, but the guys that were putting it on, they ended up being f***ing scam artists. I was trusting them. I really liked the guys. They was cool people, but fast talkers. 2 months before I pulled out, Shannon was like, "Man, these guys are scammers, bro." I was like, "Man, you brought these motherfuckers to me." Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo have a debate over whether or not Nate Diaz could return to the UFC and still fight world-class fighters. Kamaru thinks there is absolutely no way.
Yes, of course, he's made a great name for himself, and big shout out to Nate Diaz for still having, you know, that notoriety to be able to go out there and, you know, still get paychecks like this because he's getting all these good fights on the outside. But come on, to say Nate Diaz is going to come back in and walk into fighting world-class mixed martial arts fighters right now in the UFC. Come on, that's absurd. That's crazy.
So are you saying Nate Diaz ain't a world class fighter?
No.
That's what you're saying.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. No, he was. He was. And don't get me wrong. Shout out to Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is still, you know, he can still, you know, fight.
He's dangerous, bro. He's dangerous.
But he's not a world class fighter. Are you crazy? Throw Nate Diaz in there with Shavkat Ramanov. Throw Nate Diaz in there with myself. Throw Nate Diaz in there with JDM.
Okay, so am I hearing a
Throw
call
Nate
out?
Diaz in there with Justin Gaethje. Come on.
So that being said, what's next for Nate Diaz? If you're in Nate Diaz's position, what's next for him? And
Nate Diaz, PFL, and Jake Paul offer you $15 million to go into MMA and fight him in MMA. I'm taking that Nate Diaz. That, I think he actually wins that fight like that. Yeah. Shout out to Nate Diaz. I think he actually wins a fight like that.
Renato Moicano versus Benoit Saint Denis goes down on September 28th. On the Show Me the Money podcast, Renato and Gilbert Burns preview the fight.
I think the best thing that he does is the mixed up punches and the takedowns are very good.
I think the way he beat Bonfim was impressive. You know, I trained Bonfim before. I know how good he is. And with Frivola too, they saw the crazy pace, and then he threw that high kick out of nowhere. It was a good fight. But then he got a big task on Dustin, and then he fell short. He's still very tough.
Daniel Cormier thinks the UFC could be forced into booking Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. DC thinks that if Tom beats Curtis Blades in spectacular fashion, The uproar from fans may push the UFC into a corner.
But could you imagine if Tom Aspinall just washes out Curtis Blades? Then the firestorm that would start to gather for him to fight Jones? Or if Curtis Blades just demolishes Tom Aspinall? It would be crazy. Here's the difference though. For there to truly be an uprising, it would have to be Aspinall destroying Blades. Only because of this. You've seen Curtis Blades lose before. So people would think, well, he beat Tom Aspinall, but we've seen him get beat by Francis and we've seen him lose to other guys. He's gonna lose to Jones. But if Aspinall goes through Blades in the way that he did Sergey, and he's only lost because of that injury default, people would lose their minds, almost insisting that him and Jones fight. Guys, we saw it recently with the WWE where The Rock came back and he was beloved and he wanted to take Cody Rhodes' spot. If Tom Aspinall can get through this match or this fight and he's clean and he looks dominant, there may be such a fan uprising that the UFC may have to be forced to make Jones versus Aspinall. I don't know what that would do for my man Stipe, but it sounds like if it does happen, he's okay with it. Just listen to the statement I read earlier. Dude, interesting times in the heavyweight division. I love it. I'm here for it all.
On the MMA Hour yesterday, Dustin Poirier revealed that Khabib may purchase his UFC 302 gloves and shorts. Conor McGregor went off on Dustin after hearing this. He wrote buy the shorts that he quit in the most important fight of his life. Hashtag never been. Scammers, him and the wife. Scammers. Khabib a terrorist in serious debt with his own country, in which he is now exiled from. You couldn't make this shit up. Dustin is a fool. An asshat. The foundation is a scam. Broke scammer alert. Dustin fired back at Conor today. On X, Conor wrote, everything I touch turns to gold. Dustin replied, touch that pinky toe. And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. The first one's from Seizure Lizard. It says, nobody tries to flex being 5'10" harder than O'Malley. The second one says, Muscle Milk Mike is wild. And the final one's from John577. It says, Full Mount is the only O'Malley podcast viewer, forcing the rest of us to watch it in between segments. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.